I'm sensitive, emotional, extremely passionate, and I fucking love cooking.
Welcome to another episode of the Matt Haycock Show. Jean-Christophe Novelli, fantastic chef, restaurateur, business owner.
Because I was mixing with everybody, shooting with Madonna, having dinner with Arnie Schwarzenegger.
You've won some incredible awards, Michelin stars, Rosette, Chef of the Year, Sexiest Chef Alive.
I had a lot of help from Marco Pierre-White, and he brought me a 200,000 pound check. And gradually I learned the extremes. I went to the extremes. And for me, that was the pinnacle of my life. Not success, not becoming a celebrity.
And when it went wrong for you, what happened?
I was looking myself in the mirror. I hate myself. So I started drinking like from lunchtime, then on the afternoon, then on the evening.
Your youngest child survived cancer as a baby. How has that been to accept?
He used to have red tears coming out. It looked like my wife was absorbing the cancer. What is important, where you live behind.
Thank you.
Otherwise, it was a bloody part.
Guys, it's Matt Haycock here. Welcome to another episode of the Matt Haycock Show. And I've got with me today a very well-dressed guest. I've got Jean-Christophe Novelli. Jean, welcome to the show. I mean, Jean needs no introduction. Fantastic chef, restaurateur, business owner, and I think probably 40 plus years you've been in the business now?
It's going to be in 2 years, 50 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen. Let's rewind those 50 years and take it back to the beginning and tell me how it all began and how cooking came into your life.
Yeah. Thank you for allowing me to open myself. It's nice to be able to. It's my first podcast, by the way, my first interview, really.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for doing it here.
So my mom was always at home. I mean, when you've got 4 kids, it's a lot of work. And my dad was always away, always
Working away.
always working. They did not have that much. There was a lot of limitations, but I know they did everything they could for all of us. I know that. I haven't seen my dad for the first 3 years from when I was born. First, because he was in the army when I was born, and when he came out of the army, he got tuberculosis. So he had to be put away for a long time. So yeah, it was about 3.5 years when I first saw my dad coming back home. At that time, it was just myself and my sister, who's 2 years younger than me, which I get on very well. And we were living in one room with my grandmother. Very hard woman. That's the effect after the war. Mainly anybody in that area, part of France, or I guess anywhere else, but I can only understand where I come from. People were hard, a bit sour, no cuddling, no kissing. So the little things she gave us, eye contacts, was like enormous.
But your mom was kissing and cuddling?
No, at all. Absolutely not. No, that's the first time. I remember I was later in life, I obviously got in relationships, and especially when I'm coming to this country, cuddling is a big thing. In France, I don't think it's so much of a... And I never forgot being told off because I was never giving cuddles.
And where did the cooking come in? Was there cooking in the family? What sparked your interest?
I was trying to understand what was happening to us, because it was no like, this is your position. Your parents are scared. You live in a shithole. You know, you've got, I mean, basically, you go to school and you're going to work in a factory. And it seems to be that everybody has the same issues. Lack of money. You know, you go to the local market, you buy just a bit. My mom used to go literally at the last 15 minutes before they shut the market, just to get things even cheaper, because they could not even bother to go back with tomatoes or beans or whatever. Apparently I was ADHD, huge problem of concentration. Like I said, very hyperactive. It looked like I did not belong to that world. For some reason, it looked like physically I was there, but mentally I was somewhere else. Constantly, it was tiring. I was burning a lot of energy. I was not even sure if I was satisfied. I've never learned anything. I could not read. And then one day, I was good at sport. Excellent, very fast, very defined, but we didn't do enough sport. In the 60s, you know, we didn't play football that much. We used to run a lot. I became very good at running, of course, because I had to tune myself into something. And also I'm quite a bit of a perfectionist, so it has to be all or nothing. So I remember running to having my guts coming out of my mouth, but I enjoy it. I don't know, some kind of, it was my only way of expression. So communication was a disaster. Then I was not a very good mixer. I was a bit of a lonely, but not sad. I was dreaming. In fact, I was a dreamer. In fact, I'm still probably a bit of a dreamer. And you know, when you say dreamer, there's nothing wrong with that. If you have a dream, it's fantastic. So that is the purpose of going somewhere. So then all of a sudden, when I realized that I was kicked out from this formal education program, then end up in a class of people, of young kids like me, some of them older, with some serious issues. And I'm talking like, most probably like autistic, mental disabilities. Honestly, you should have seen it was awful, actually. Unfair, unacceptable. But again, it was the time where, you know, it was very normal. So what happened? I mean, normal. Nobody made a fuss. So I remember counting with baguettes, sticks, yellow for 2, red will be 1, black will be 10. And they used to slap us on the head. We never spoke. We never said anything. The teacher was sometimes banging us on the head, on the back of the head like this. So,
but that was normal.
yeah, it was normal. It didn't fear me. I wasn't scared of them. I was like, but because I didn't have any concentration, I did not have a purpose. I thought it was part of the day. And the only thing that came in my mind is, what are we going to eat tonight? And food became the most essential part of the reunion, of the great time of the day. Eating. And I realized I didn't eat most of the day. I used to have, I'm not saying my parents did not feed me. I have never said that. I'm saying that I was always starving. So I was an unhappy child. And I noticed I was always more excited or more seduced or more content by 3 p.m., knowing that in the next 3 hours' time, I'm going to have something to eat. And I was trying to understand what will it be, trying to describe what's going to be cooked, trying to guess, trying to even imagine. So sometimes I used to get annoyed because what was cooked, I didn't like it. Even so, I did eat it. So you can imagine when my mom was cooking something which I loved. Oh, that was the talk of the night.
And she was a good cook, your mom?
Very good cook. Luckily, yes, my mom, my aunties, my grandmothers, natural cooked. Very good cooked and not passionate, not Michelin, no pictures, going to the market. My mom was very good also she was very good of anything we've left over. So you will have something, then it's turned to something colder, then it's turned to a soup, and then it's turned to a sandwich. I mean, I'm just over it. So, and it was good. We love it. I remember bought some nights she used to make pancakes. Now I know why, because there was nothing left. So we didn't have a fridge. We did not have a fridge, no TV, no phones, of course, no hot water.
So tell me, I mean, how did you decide a career in cooking was going to be for you? Well, I mean, you've obviously said your mom was a good cook. Your grandma. I mean, when did you learn to cook?
I knew I was going to become a chef by the age of 8, 10. Why? Because the teacher, bear in mind, in a class, I was a nobody. I was in the back. I keep having bad notes. It didn't embarrass me. I was, wherever I missed in the education program, I caught it up by playing football on a playground. So it was my way. I know it's nothing. I know it's not important, but it was my only way. And then later, I knew I would have a nice meal waiting at the house and enjoy it fully. So basically, I had nothing. I had nothing to opt for or to aim for or except sport and food. So one of those days, we got these random questions of a brand new teacher. It was a lady who was fantastic. First, she allowed us to speak, which is something we haven't had experienced before. And she said, right, okay, guys, I just want to ask anyone, if anybody knows what you will be doing, would you want to do as a career or as a profession later in life? Is anybody want to? And then I pop up from the back of the room, just put my finger up. So she said, yeah, Jean-Christophe. And for the first time, I stood up. Then I realized, obviously, I didn't have the confidence because I did not know about... So it was the first time I stood up in front of everybody. They were all looking at me. And bear in mind, they did more or less very well. And saying, I want to be a chef. A chef? I said, yeah. I think I would like to be a chef. I love food. I think cooking is my thing. So the next day, I got dumped by a girlfriend I used to have. You know, at that age, you hang about with her. And I remember she said, I don't want to be with you anymore. I remember it was near the stairs, the main stairs of the school. And I liked her very much. And I said, why? She said, because I've just found out that apparently you want to be a chef. And I want to be with someone with a real job. I want a real man. I'll never forget she said that.
How old were you?
10, 11. I want a real man. I want someone with a real job. And then she walked off. She went up to the stairs and I was like, still trying to work out, what does that mean? So I think I was already driven by that things that we call passion. And that actually kept me focused. For the first time, I was focused and hooked on something which I love. And I was investing, I was dreaming of, and I put all my commitment. So basically it was just a matter of time. How long am I going to be wasting my time where I am now, where I'm not learning, and I need to find a way in. So what happened is, what saved me.
And then in 1983, you moved to England?
Yes.
To learn to cook?
Yes, I did. I became a chef.
So you trained under Keith Floyd, and in 1996, you opened your first restaurant. My
first real job as a chef was when I first arrived in England, in the UK, a place in the New Forest called, an hotel called the Chewton Glen Hotel, near Bournemouth, that area. I mean, it's actually in New Milton, but it is a 5-star hotel. At the time, it was privately run by a family, and the head chef was superb, absolutely fantastic. And it happened to be that the restaurant in the hotel of the Chewton Glen had a Michelin star. So basically, for me, it was the first ever introduction to the real scene of cooking. And gradually I learned the extremes. I went to the extremes. Honestly, what was achieved in those 3 years was probably more than anything else I've done in my life before. I was happy. We used to do like 16 hours a day, which was nothing. It was my homes, it was my family. I used to start early, I used to finish late. I used to look in a restaurant behind the doors. I was dreaming every single day. So gradually I moved on to commis, then chef de partie, then I was like a sous chef type, which I become his right arm, which was very special for me because the man was phenomenal. And still now, I still call him chef. I don't normally call people chef, but I call him chef because he really did what an head chef or someone in charge should be. He was kind, he was firm, he was very active, but never under... I never felt abused or used or, if something was wrong, he'll explain. To everyone, I mean, the girls, anybody in the kitchen, wherever you came from, it was very special. I never experienced that before. So I was very fortunate. Then we become very friendly, and I was extremely loyal because I'm a loyal person, very loyal. This for me is so important. Loyalty is number one. So I was giving him everything I could, and he felt that too. So he felt that he was. So I was put in charge of things like doing the service. So doing the service, I used to be so so excited. So excited about being in charge of the pass. Even one Sunday night, for example, or doing the ordering or going through the new dishes. Oh, for me, that was the prime, most important moment of my life. The kids around were all very good. To come to that place, you had to be very good. So they used to come from different good establishment with a star or Relais Chateau, from Germany, from different places around the world. It was fantastic. The produce was eminent. The New Forest, imagine the sea, the forest, the garlic from the Isle of Wight, producer bringing red currants, little sorrels for 2 weeks of the year. I used to go back to my room. I was like, this is fucking crazy. I never saw that in my life. It's like, so you become insecure. How long this is gonna last? You're doing well. When I opened my own Power restaurant many years ago, I never felt so satisfied and excited as much as I was those 3 years as a young chef working at the Chewton Glen Hotel. And for me, that was the pinnacle of my life. Not success, not becoming a celebrity, a superstar, forget that. Just to be free to express myself as that person that I've decided at the age of 8 to become an head chef, a chef. I'm a leader. I am a good example. I trust. Sometimes I am too generous. I'm sensitive. I'm emotional. I'm extremely passionate, and I fucking love cooking. So when I opened Maison Novelli, it was a Deliric. I had a lot of help from Marco Pierre-White. In fact, he got me the best deal in London. I got paid quite a bit of money. And that money was my deposit to borrow £64,000 with NatWest. So with this, I opened a restaurant where I knew as soon as I step in, everybody out. Well, they will not stay with me, that's for sure. Open for dinner, which was closed. It was open for lunch. It's near the city. Again, Marco was very right. Then we start painting the place. Then I got the Michelin star straight away on the spot. thanks again, Michelin, because I've got to say, the aim was not to get married with Michelin. The aim was to get a maximum of some kind of publicity or subject that I can use to sell myself. And Michelin, it was one of them. One of it, if you go Michelin star, that's it. You start having the newspaper, you start having, people coming over, and it happened. This is what happened. So I started making a lot of money with my team, some very loyal people, growing. My sous chef at the Four Seasons, Chris, I knew him when he was 17. He was a stagiaire from Bournemouth College, and he used to help me when I was in a New Forest working over there. And he grew with me. So he became, from one day to another, he became the CEO of the company because he's the only one. I mean, I trust everyone, but he's the only one who actually could have, as some kind of a flexible person, to be able to go to the bank, having the sense of communication, because my communication was awful, except in the kitchen. As soon as I made quite a bit of money, instead of buying a Porsche or a Ferrari or going to Barbados, I keep working even harder and bought a bistro. Then I ended up having seven establishments.
Was that your peak, 7 establishments?
Yeah, I mean, I was not like, oh wow, it was not a number to choose. I don't know, it was like at sport when I was young. You're running, at first you're following the strong one, the good runner, and then you're now overtaking them. The way you breathe your way of breathing is awful, it's terrible, but you manage to surpass that. So you adapt yourself to a position where you understand your weakness when you are running. You're running your own space and you are finishing on the top. And it was the same with running the business. No nonsense, trying to adjust, trying to learn your mistakes. I mean, of course, it makes sense, but try not to make the same mistakes and try to enjoy what you're doing. And that was very difficult to enjoy yourself. So I was obsessed after one thing, which is quite invisible, is that I used to have like an imaginary carrot to bite. Always. So I always missed it and I was running after it. So basically, I've never really appreciated it. So yes, you're right. After 7 establishments, I ended up with shingles, I ended up having some serious conditions problem. I started drinking because I was mixing with everybody, shooting with Madonna, having dinner with Arnie Schwarzenegger in New York, flying on Concorde. I mean, I was complacent. I made a mistake. The biggest mistake, I mean, I don't regret. I'm far more happy now than I never been. I am happy. That's the most important thing. Before I wasn't. I thought I was. I was gaining things. I was achieving things. I was getting love and attention, but I was not happy. I was going back home. I was looking myself in the mirror. I fucking hate myself. I did not like myself. I did not like the way I was. And I did not understand why. I did not hurt anyone. I didn't steal anyone. I did not damage anyone. I did not like the way I was. And I was trying to refer, is it the way you were brought up with nothing? And you know what was wrong? And this is where everything started to go pear-shaped. Not immediately, but gradually. I become so full of myself. I look back, that was 1996, 98, 99. So from the age of 14, early 70s, I work and 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 work. Work. So basically, we had no life. So basically, my way of getting into understand what the society is about, rather than just feeding the society or pleasing the society, but it's also to enjoy like everybody else. Because when you start meeting people like celebrities, because it's quite impressive. Footballers. I remember I was with Pele. Imagine. I was singing with Sacha Distel. I remember phoning my mom. She could not believe for them, that was the success. Singing with Sacha Distel. It was like unreal. I've never experienced that before. I was like dreaming, but something was missing. And I did not understand what is it. There's a lot of money in the bank. No, I don't fancy nothing. I did not have a relationship. I did not have a business partner. I become more and more insecure. And the things who was missing, the thing was missing, you know what it is? Or what it was? I stopped cooking. That was a big mistake.
And you were just running the businesses and being the face?
I was supposed to be the entrepreneur. I remember the time I stopped wearing my jacket. I only wear my jacket to go in the kitchen. Well, it's obvious. And the time I stopped wearing my jacket, I did not realize I did so. So I started wearing polo, black polo, neck, jacket, trousers, normal shoes, and meeting people, going to an evening, or how many times I got invited on different dudes in London. London was the scene. London become for anyone. So I'm excited. I'm old. I am very much attracted, seduced by a lot of things, and a lot of things is not good for me. Drinking too much, sleeping late, You don't run anymore. And the most important thing is you don't wear that chef jacket. You are not in the kitchen. You don't know what's going on. And you are not in control. So I was trying to suppress. I was trying to impress. I made a lot of mistakes.
And when it went wrong for you, obviously I know you started to say, why things were going on. When it went wrong, what happened? I mean, did you go bankrupt? Did you lose some of the restaurants? What actually happened?
Well, it's funny because it's embarrassing, but it's not, because it's a learning curve. And that experience was very costly and embarrassing. And I'm saying sorry to everybody I let down, because I did let customers down. People love to come to me. They come to, the door is shut. My staff love coming every day. How can I explain to them? I can give them all my love, but at the end of the day, I fell. On one side, I become the pin-up of most of the newspaper, the magazines, this of the year, this and that, da, da, da. On the other hand, I become a nonsense. And I did not accept that. I did not understood, believed, and I did not understood. That was all. And one day I said, that's it. I need to accept what happened. And I need to move from this. I need to move from my mistakes and move again. So I knew my name was worth a lot, because I worked for that name, and I will do, as long as I live, I will do anything for that name. So I knew from what has been capitalized and achieved, I know I could do that again. And I'm sure it was the same with you or anybody else I know in the same position. So basically, it's just money. But when you don't have money, you never had money. It's not a big deal. It didn't hurt me. So what I did, it took about a year to lose all the restaurants one after one. And I made a mistake not to sell because I was too proud. And basically, I ended up down to only one, which was the original one I opened in 1996, where I got all the glories, all the secret recipes, if you want to call it. It's to imagine, when I first opened that restaurant was a dump. It smelled, it was depressing. I never forgot the noise in the keyhole. I remember that door opening, and I could see a dream there. Now, call me ignorant, maybe I was, but I wasn't. So basically, I was not the person I should have done. I was not the person I should have been, that I used to be, and I did not know. So because you become your own boss, I mean, do you imagine we used to turn, like I said, one day I walked to the office and I sacked the financial director just like that, like you sack a chef. Something is really wrong. I remember I had a few drinks. I'm so sorry. Well, I'm not, but I am. I'm very sensitive. I'm not diplomatic, which is a mistake. That's the way I was brought up. It's black or white. You argue or you love. There's no middle things. And if you're next to somebody, it's because that person wants to be with you. Otherwise, you are not going to be in that room. And it's a shame to be, but that was the way. And sadly, I had to do with that. And I'm working very hard on this still now. But it won't be passed on. So importantly, then that day I sacked him, and I remember I nearly threw him through the window because something happened I can't explain too much. And it really annoyed me. And I forgot, hang on a minute. So he had to go, he left, and that killed me. Why? Because I don't know what's going on there. In a kitchen, if I sack someone, I can jump in. I can even have my hand in the pocket and still do the job as well or even better. But in the finance, I don't even know what the drawers are. I don't know where they keep the checkbooks. I know I used to sign all the checks, but I don't have a clue what's going on. I didn't even know how much was in the bank, to tell you how stupid that was. The biggest mistake was also, like I said, to stop cooking, but it's to buy into Mayfair. Why did I do this? Because I wanted to show off. Again, it's a side of me which doesn't belong to me. It's not me. But I was so frying down. I've actually started eating too much more than I could chew or digest. I could not possibly digest anything I was chewing because I didn't even realize what I was chewing every single day. But I wanted a bite of that thing from London, like everybody else. And because I become more and more charismatic and more energetic, the thing is I did not do any sport. I did not run in London. I did not go to the extremes of trying to put myself into something just to unwind or to. So I used it during my days. So when I was drinking evilly. I mean, evilly, I should not say that because I don't want my kids to listen to that because obviously they don't know that I've never been sick as stuck with alcohol. I mean, I'm strong enough to take over, but it was not right. So I started drinking like from lunchtime with my customers, then on the afternoon, then on the evening, and then I go to parties because I get picked up. So I end up drinking all day. Then eating. So you changed, your personality changed. Of course it changed. Drink, I mean, I don't drink and we don't drink it for a long time now. And it's probably the best things I've done, to be honest. I don't want to mention names, but I've got to say, and you've got to admit, so it's always lovely people around. In fact, there's been a lot of people who were very, compassionate about my situation and discreetly not trying to embarrass me because I was not bothered about the money. That's why actually. So Marco came one day. I remember because we did not speak for, I think, a few months, whatever. I mean, it's very rare because I know since 1985 we like brothers. I mean, we are seriously. It's just anyway. So I remember he annoyed me for some reason, and I annoyed him too. So basically, when you love each other, but it's like with your brother, you will accept. You'll never be away. And so one day he walked in with his with a hat, and Marco was doing extremely well, and he's still doing very well, by the way. And Marco was Marco Pierre White. There is no one else. I mean, lots of individuals did very well, superbly well. But as a young British chef, to become what he became, this phenomena in a world of restaurants and chefs, 3 Michelin stars, nobody else. The block was a kid when he walked in. And anyway, so he walked in. So I was trying to close the door. Then he pushed the door. He said, "John, don't be beep, 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 da, da, da." I said, "What do you want?" He said, "I heard the stories, da, da, da. I came here to help you." I said, "Oh, I cannot do that. Leave me alone." That's even more embarrassing. Imagine the last thing you want to expose your problems. So Marco, he came upstairs. I said, "What are you doing?" So he took his big coat, hat, with his hat on. He asked for a coffee, if it's possible. Then he got a checkbook, and he wrote me a £200,000 check. Just I said, "Marco, jeez, don't embarrass me." He said, "John, do you think 1 minute I came here for nothing? I'm here because I want you to keep going. You made some silly mistakes, but we all learn." I swear, that was unbelievably touching. The money, I didn't care because on the end of the day, I would never immediately be able to go back to that hype where I was. I was flying, I was walking on water. Honestly, it's funny to say that. I was like, it was busy, it was great, it was a lot of things. When you go from one restaurant, it's packed people, you go in the kitchen, you go on the front, 7 days a week, you are demanding, you become that things that people want. It's fun, a great feeling. I loved it so much. So when he gave me that check, I said, "I don't want that check. I'm fine, please leave." He said, "Mark, I'm not leaving." And leave it here. He signed it and he said, "John, don't be beep, 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 da, da, da," and he left. So he left the check. And I remember I was like, bastard. I mean, sorry,
Okay, so over the years, you've won some incredible awards, Michelin stars, Rosette, Chef of the Year, even sexiest chef alive. How important?
This came up by fax from New York. I never forgot about that. So Chris, obviously dealing with all the logistic and all the offices, he's like, First time I see him like losing it, like, I said, "What's going on?" And then he showed me the New York Times. I don't know the hell why and how, just came up with these things. It's crazy when you are so much looking for to sell yourself. Whatever, if it's even making little flower, carve, vegetable shapes, flowers, for your soup du jour, that boring soup du jour we used to do. I used to put flowers just to make sure I put my extra touch to that. Just to make sure that wherever I remember working in a New Forest after the Chutung, working in a hotel called the Park Hill Hotel in Linders. It was deliric, it was boring, it was fine, but the place was dying, which is fine. So people used to come, having the normal, usual dishes. So when I became in charge of that place, I started putting little things just quickly because I was dying not to be the same. I was dying to give a bit of fresh air. So down to making even flowers at the last minute, just turnips, carrots, whatever. There's a bit of a display of colors into this soup, which I was going to take over in the next 2 weeks and change it completely and give some sparkle. So, always trying to get some kind of attention. So you have to work your way to get that. And sometimes people don't care. So who was that? And sometimes, but they remember, they come back. So, by the way, where is that soup du jour? It was fantastic. It's a shit soup. They've been giving for years, but it's an addition. So I realized it's a little bit of something that people want. We will all like receiving attention and giving attention. It's probably more than conversing. So when that came over, I thought, this is a bit extremes. So when I sent it to my mom, you had a strong laughing. Anyway, forget it.
But how important are those awards to you? I mean,
obviously, first I was very blessed. I can't mention whatever, but always, the thing is, my problem is I'm really, really unsatisfied. It's never enough. I get bored very quickly. You give me something, it's not enough. I don't know. I've always been like that. It's all right when you want to move on, but it's not always good if you want a normal life. I think it's nice to appreciate what you have, and I don't. And later in life, I see things like, or I listen to things I said 10 years ago, and I said, you know what? That was not too bad, actually. I mean, I used to have a Scream Wipers on my TV, because every time I see myself on TV, I used to, that's a joke. But it's a nice feeling. Always it's been, why? Ooh. I mean, I know I was trying to get Michelin star. I've got to admit, like everybody of us, you know, in the 80s, everybody was like 80s, 90s. We were like glue. Hello, any Michelin inspectors? You know, we were constant, like this little network of chefs trying to find out. But what is important is to be recognized for working hard. And what is great about recognitions and in a profession where I belong and still belong, and I will come back again if I live again tomorrow as a chef. If I was have to be born again, I would definitely do the same life. And what I love about the catering industry is we are doing the most phenomenal job on the planet. I mean, there is a lot of professions, but we are fortunate. We can use our 5 senses in the same time. We can have the sense of urgency and do creativity. We can be artistic, having a little bit of sense of science. I mean, I'm not overreacting, but it's true. There's no limits. It's like music. You can do whatever. There is always, if it's done very well.
So in 2016, your youngest child, Valentino, was born, and they survived cancer as a baby, which is obviously horrendous enough in itself, to then go on to be diagnosed with autism. And I think it's possible that they may never speak. I mean, how has that been to accept, to deal with, for the family and for you?
It's been very, very difficult, and it's still very, very difficult. We're going for a long run. So I know first it's very unfair, as much as anybody else who end up having cancer, and especially when you are 6 weeks old, is beyond anything you can believe. So the reality is the fact that he had cancer and very quickly growing on his neck. So he became a small lump.
How did you know it was a lump that grew?
Again, sensitive. I remember I was with my wife. It was 6 weeks, I remember. So I was looking after the other 2 boys, and she was sleeping with him to make sure he get fed every 2 hours. I came back, gave her a kiss as usual, because I love her so much. And I noticed when she was feeling him that he had something on the neck. We both, again, sensitive.
Like a lump?
No, it's not a lump. It's nothing. If I was not the way I am or the way we are, we would have never spotted. So it was like nothing. I can't even describe it. So touching a little bit, so what is it? I mean, obviously, very quickly with the doctors, I've got to say the NHS, and I've got to say big thank you. You have no idea how many times we were in tears. Anyway, so there is hope, and they're trying. And they really are also achieving things. So on her case, it took about 5 days because it's so tiny. So at first, he had to go through tests in Luton, which was a great Luton Dunstable hospital. And they had to put a fluid, a liquid, to be able to see through the scanner. And he got allergic to that. So these pipes, vocal pipes start to shut down. And he happened to be a junior doctor who was passing and saw the situation and used a pen, believe it or not, a pen to reopen it to allow him to survive. And then they got a place in Cambridge, which is Addenbrooke Hospital. So we turn up. Well, she turned up first. She got transmitted straight away on the spot. Then I came up on the morning, and basically they are giving us an idea of what is going to happen, what they think it is, because they know, they have an idea, but nothing is. Never they say that's what it is. It's never concrete, but it's. So basically, we are giving different treatments, chemo treatments already, from okay to basically, if this doesn't work, I'm sorry. At first, they thought it should be an incision and trying to operate and remove the lump, which was growing quick. And he was taking on, imagine as a baby, imagine the size of your neck. So that was, I saw the scanner, was like, so very quick. Diagnosed for neuroblastoma, stage 4. And the thing is, you don't know what is next. And what happened is, and the chap, I remember seeing the doctor, I said, you're a bit too young for teaching my son. But again, all respect, he tried, and then he said, he had to put everything back. He said, no, I can't touch that. It's too dangerous now. So they had to go through the chemos. They tried a first lot of chemo. Imagine, the kid doesn't speak. He used to have red tears coming out. red.
How
yes.
old at this point? Like still
7,
8
8
weeks?
9, 10 weeks. So when he's giving the next slot, the final chemo treatment, it took about a month or two to give a sign of maybe not. So then they managed to do the job very well as normal. It's quite painful. The routine is quite not nice. I saw my wife changing. It looked like my wife was absorbing the cancer and getting my son free. I saw the transmissions of her face changing, her hair becoming gray. She didn't eat for 2-3 days, I think it was. Not even a piece of bread or nothing. Hardly drank any water. She did not move. She was inside him. And the boy was obviously, he had an incline from the heart. He had fed by the nose. So yes, there is problem everywhere. Yes, there is painful things around, sadly. But the problem of that is not who suffer the most. It's that you're not ready for it.
Wow, I mean, you're never ready for that, ever, right?
And that's the thing. We were not ready. You know, if you know something bad is going to happen, you contract yourself and you go for it. So he does about 2 years in hospital. They were all fantastic. And we've been very fortunate because some families were not fortunate. And that's another thing you share, you feel for, and it's unfair. You know, you come through the corridor, you got that lovely belt when you are obviously leaving the hospital. But you know, it's not safe. Nothing is safe. You know, after that experience, what's next? And basically speaking, I know he looked like he's autistic, but he's not just autistic. What happened is because as a young baby, he spent a lot of his time to fight against the cancer because we don't realize this immune system has to try to be developed to fight it. Like us with a cold, he actually stopped creating his normal chromosome. So basically, he is now recognized as a 15q13.3, which basically, first, he needs assistance for life. He's 7-year-old, he needs nappies. He will never speak, we know that. That's absolutely guaranteed, we know that. We've tried and tried. But then again, there's the place where he is actually in Welwyn Garden City. There's a wonderful school, a school for kids with difficulties, and God knows there how a great job they're doing. So
is that a resident? Does he live with you? Or
yeah. Oh, he's not going nowhere. He's not going nowhere. And nobody, no. He's with us and only. So there's my 2 boys. We forget one of them got kicked out from school. He was doing very well. And after a year and a half, I went to see the headmaster and nobody realized psychologically they were traumatized. So we live in a situation where we know, I mean, there's a lot of things I can't mention because it's privately, no need to anyone to understand my son's situation, which could be very drastic in the future when he's older. But as far as I'm concerned, we're there. He's happy. He loves his food. We're trying our very best, and we are. He's the clock of the family. If he sneezes, we're there. It's 24 hours a day. There's nobody else. It's just me, my wife, myself, my boys, and we are in turn constantly. We're always there, but there's always someone with him. So occasionally our lovely mother-in-law Mandy come over, but she just recovered from cancer. So you can't employ somebody as an assistant because you need to feel safe, secure, comfortable. We need to understand him more and more, and he's not giving anything away. So we know when he's not happy, we know when he's happy, we know when he wants something to feed. So basically he's just ringing, he's screaming. So it's a different life. We are obviously working hard to adapt to the situation, but it's 24 hours a day. Like I said, my wife put a lot of time with him, of course. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I it's when you look at him, you realize, you're talking about me and Chef of the Year, and it's not. I mean, I don't want to put off chefs who really want to try and get recognized. Of course, now it's great to be recognized. But when you look at the life I had and the life we have, how fortunate we are, all of us, you, me, yourself. If something happens, it will happen. If the worst comes to the worst, obviously, you are ready for the unexpected situation. But when you see a tiny human being who can't even express himself, who has to be changed 4 or 5 times a day, who doesn't understand what hot or cold, and you got to be very careful with him because he's got no fears of heights. I remember once I was cleaning the gutters, got a phone call, and he's quick. So, one day, I mean, that's why we got 2 gates to make sure that he doesn't run away. If he gets lost and we can't find, I mean, of course, he will never, we are like magnets on him. I mean, if he was a robbery, nobody would be able to accede to him because we are on him. We protect him like it's the extremes. It's tough because, I mean, I can't explain, but I was amazed about some people's reactions. I mean, in majority, it's been fantastic. It's been a lot of people who were supporting, trying to study the situation for us and give us the results and say, look, neuroblastoma, this is the options. But I got dumped with some jobs, saying, why are you canceling him or why? I said, well, we just found out that his son, discreetly, basically, he's got a problem, we don't want him. So bang. So basically, on the top of that, I start losing jobs. And that was also something unexpected. But we're coming out of it. The boy is happy. Now he's a swimmer. He loves swimming. He loves music. My wife is the perfect person with him. Like I said, I jump anywhere for him. My sons are the most dedicated humans, wonderful human beings. And you know what's happening to them? It's happening exactly what happened to me and my brothers and sisters and my dad with my mom. That experience with my mom was probably the most amazing experience we had, where she showed us humility and sense of caring and to contribute to. So this is a very special touch. So once again, thank you for having me.
Jean-Christophe, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very, very
Listen,
much.
we're just human beings. Honestly, please make sure you don't cut that bit out. We're just human beings. We're here and we're gone. That's it. What is important is the freehold. It's what you leave behind. Never mind who you are great or not. It's that things which is worth something which has been passed on. Otherwise, what's the bloody point?